99% of people are controlled by the devil, and no, this isn't a religious video at all, but what if the devil isn't red with horns, but is instead a voice inside your head that is keeping you stuck? Today, I'm going to break apart the book from Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil. It is my favorite book of all time in terms of actionable steps that I can apply to my life, and it has made it so much better. And I think you can take all the lessons that I give today and still benefit from reading it. It is outstanding. Now, again, this isn't a religious video at all, but we are going to use terms of the devil and God because that's what Napoleon Hill wrote about. Now, I think we're all on the same page where we don't want to be living a hell on earth or controlled by anything, let alone the devil. So let's break down what the devil wants from you. The number one thing it wants, and it's its biggest weapon, is to make you a drifter, because a drifter is someone that can manipulate and just live a life that no one actually wants to live. A drifter is someone that doesn't have strong values, doesn't speak up, follows the crowd, procrastinates, and just has no purpose. And there's an awesome quote in the book, and it goes, "Once I gain control of a person's mind, I can make them drift through life without ever truly living." That is exactly what I don't want. And I hope that's the same for you. And I've said this so long, I don't want to just exist, I want to live. And the opposite of that is what the devil wants. It seems simple, but the devil is tricky. He's going to throw everything against you, and the problem is he's got access to every thought, every memory, anything that's ever happened to you, and can use it as ammo. So the devil will use fear to keep you paralyzed, because when you're not moving, you're going to be a drifter. Brendan Burchard, who's like the highest paid mindset coach, who I've done his course, he talked about 3 main fears that we all have. Now, there's the fear of judgment. And it makes sense. We don't want to be judged, because in hunter-gatherer times, if we were outcast to the tribe and we got excluded, we would die. So we, from an evolutionary standpoint, do not want to be judged. So it's a fair thing to not want, but realizing that that is one of the fears that will be used against you. The next one is fear of hardship. So just doing hard things, going outside your comfort zone. Now, every quote you've ever read is about how much you improve outside of the comfort zone. It's not easy though. It's simple, but not easy. And the last one, this one hits home the most for me, is fear of failure. Now, this one's so tricky, and this stuff blows me away, because I've seen it in my life many times. For example, I could be in jiu-jitsu, rolling someone and not winning. And instead of trying to turn up the intensity or like try to win, I've got a fear of failure that maybe this guy's better than me. And there's a lot of people better than me. But instead of turning it up, I'll turn it down. Because if I didn't give it my all, I didn't really fail, which is a way bigger fail. Because this has happened in competitions before. This has happened in so many different areas of my life. I just haven't given it my all, because that means I didn't fail. And I think that one will hit home with a lot of you as well. The biggest fail is not giving it your all. If you give it your all and you fail, you'll get a fucking unreal lesson that you can use. If you didn't, you just feel like, you're soft and you don't actually respect yourself as much, which is also what the devil wants. The devil will also try to control you with bad habits. So let's talk smoking, drinking, gambling, eating in excess, like just eating bad foods, too much porn, like too much Xbox, anything where you don't have control, because when you don't have control, you doubt your willpower. And when you don't have willpower, you're not going to be able to fight those fears, and you are just going to end up drifting. And the last thing that you talked about that just got me was distraction. Because if you're distracted, you're not going to give the brain power to overcome a problem. And I've said for so long that I believe that every problem that everyone has can probably be resolved in 5 minutes of just pure thinking on it. But we pull up our phones. We put music on when we drive, or we just do something to distract ourselves, because it'd be so much easier than facing the scary things, which is what is being presented to us. And that is just the recipe for living a life that you don't want to live. So the first thing that we would need to do to not be controlled by the devil would be get crystal clear on our standards. Because if we look at everything we just described, that is a life that we don't want to live, doing things that we wish we weren't doing, not hitting our standard. So the opposite of that, and that's what I would like to believe God is just your highest version of yourself. If we just hit those standards, you're going to feel amazing. And I think that the worst feeling on earth is not hitting your standards, which is the hell on earth that Napoleon Hill talks about. Now, the problem with setting standards is so many people suck at goal setting. You cannot say things like, I should eat better, I should train more, because you've just given them 2 more problems with no answers, no direction on how to fix. You need to get clear. I've got a whiteboard that I normally have right behind me, but the surfboards look sick, so I put it up for the video. But it says that I need to do 100 minutes of exercise every single day. I don't say what exercise. I could be walking, I could go do a really hard workout, anything. I know I just gotta move my body for 100 minutes or I'm not going to be happy with myself. What do I need to do? How many calories? How much protein? What do I need to be doing here? It doesn't even have to be calorie tracking. It's like, oh, I'm not going to Hungry Jack's. That's like my big standard. If I go there, I'll be upset. Stop doing things that don't make you proud of yourself. And my standards are not just training and nutrition. So I can look at it right now. I'm going to learn for 30 minutes. I'm going to drink 3 liters of water. I'm going to play in the sun every single day. If there's no sun, I still have to go outside because it makes me upset to stay inside. Then and this one's my favorite one. I've got to make Georgia, my wife, and Alex, my daughter, laugh every single day. Because if they're laughing, we're having a good time, and that's super important to me. And if that's not happening, that's going to go negative, and that's going to pull me down from all my other standards. And now I'm drifting in a life that I don't want to be in. Because that life doesn't have to be like rock bottom, just zombie. You just not hitting here, and even if you're here, but not going upwards, you're gonna feel like shit. And I probably should have said this beforehand, but the first thing that you should actually think about is what's your purpose? Get really super clear on that, and the purpose will come with the standards. What standards do you have to hit to become the highest version of yourself? And what does that look like? What do you want? What do you want in this life? You need to go and chase it. That's the opposite of drifting. Now, all of this came up when I had a mindset coaching client who is struggling with smoking and gambling. Now, this is the reason for this whole video, because I was talking to him about it and I want to send it to him later just to give him more in-depth stuff. I said to him, what would the devil want you to do right now? And I explained how it's going to make you like the lowest version of yourself. He's like, yeah, smoking and gambling, it makes sense. It's like, yeah. Now, what voice do you hear when you want to do those things? It's never a negative one. It's never like, oh, you piece of shit, you should go gamble. It's like, oh, wouldn't that be fun? What if we won? Oh, you've had a bad day, you're stressed, go smoke some more. It's never like trying not to convince you to do it. It's so sneaky in the way it does it. But if you break that loop of like the same thought pattern of being controlled, and you just be like, who's controlling me right now? Is this the devil or is this God? And if you ask that question because you don't normally question these thoughts, it's just a spiral. That's what a spiral is. You don't intercept them. So once we intercept and ask a new question, we're going to get a new answer. Now, I did this when I was in the drive-thru at Hungry Jack's trying to get Biscoff Sunday. And I said to myself, should I get a Biscoff Sunday? I said it out loud in the car, and I heard this voice in my head that said no. It's like, okay, cool. I just had a conversation with my higher self. I can either ignore that or actually listen to it and not be upset when I leave this drive-thru. And the funniest thing was, I don't know if it's that funny, it probably makes sense, but it didn't at the time because it's so convincing. I was like, I just want a Biscoff Sunday. But I drove out there. I was like, oh my God, I just said no and I followed through. That feels good. I feel so good right now. So much better than the Biscoff Sunday. So you need to get clear on everything that you want in life. And then you need to attack it and be super honest with yourself. Am I being controlled right now? Is this a fear of mine that's pushing me in the wrong direction? These questions will completely change your life. Bottom line is that the devil doesn't need to destroy you. He just needs you to drift, and drifting will feel comfortable. And we don't want to be there. All paths to hell will look like heaven, but it's still going to hell. So I hope that helps you as much as it helped me, because it just reinforced that standards are everything, and that is the path to God, essentially, without it being religious at all. But if we're just talking about you being the best you, the highest version of you that gives to the world, that gives to your family, your friends, and strangers, that just is the most positive light you can imagine, it comes to standards. And I think if we break down what God actually is, it is just standards. I think that's pretty powerful. I hope that helps. I'm going to send this to my client now. You're the man. I hope that makes it way clearer for you as well. And you keep actioning and keep strong with your gambling and your smoking, brother. Let's fucking get it.